In light of the RBA announcement this week, I have wanted to reach out and address the current situation basically for all the Cranbourne and surround homeowners. This picture tells us that there is a huge number of local homeowners who are what we would call asset rich and cash poor. And when we're in an environment of increasing cost of living, rising interest rates, everything eating into our disposable incomes, many of us will be wanting and needing to look for viable options. So what are they? Short-term options are limited to about 2 that are going to give you the gift of time to work towards the best longer-term solution. Both involve a call to your lender, and what you're going to discuss is, firstly, 1, is it possible to switch your loan to interest only for a period of time that's going to enable you to do a bit of catch up, keep up with your payments, and potentially add a buffer? Or number 2, extend the time of your loan. So if you currently have a mortgage over 20 or 25 years, would you perhaps extend it out to 30 to reduce your repayments in the short term while you sort out what that longer term solution looks like? Longer term solutions bring me to what we call the 3 R's: refinance, release equity, relocate. Determining which R best fits your situation is going to depend on how long you've owned your current property. If you've been in your home for longer than 5 years, for instance, you will have a ton of equity that will give you great options. Whereas, look, if you've been in for a shorter period of time, there will be a few more variables that are going to need to be considered. The key is how quickly you act is going to be paramount to your outcome. As more and more people assess their situation and start making decisions, we will no doubt start to see an increase in the number of homes that come to market. And as we all know, because it's in the headlines, stock levels are at historic lows, meaning that your potential of a higher sales price is sooner rather than later in the year. And that will provide better outcomes and options moving forward. The reason I'm saying sooner rather than later is if we look at 2013, where the gap between the median house price and the mortgage balances at that time, you can see that they ended up sitting almost neutral. So not a lot of options there for pulling out profit or equity. Now, if we were to look where we are in 2023 so far, you can see that there is still a healthier gap between the two. Much like back in 2003, but if the cycle repeats as we see here, that current gap is likely to shrink as the buyer-seller ratio levels out. We are heading towards basically a snowball effect, with house prices softening as more houses hit the market and the buyers having access to less money every time the rates rise. If you have questions about where you sit in the graph, and what equity you actually have to work with, now is the time to reach out.